This conference will now be recorded.
All right, are we back online there?
You are.
Good. Yes, we're recording now. Billy, we're reset the three. First item is the annual meeting. Have been sworn in. You want to read the election results? I'd like to appoint following people acting village justice, Michael Rich, village court clerk, and Gregory, village historian, clerk, treasurers, Cindy, but in your guys' package, see a bunch of motions. Okay.
I move that Chemung Canal Trust be and is hereby designated as a receiver of monies.
Building something appropriate. Is it 20 Elm? The meeting shall be.
Laura,
Our legal notices in the village of Owego.
I second.
Ron,
Yes.
yes. Laura,
Yes.
Carl,
Yes.
Yes.
and yes.
I want to read it.
Yeah. all right.
Well, sorry.
It's on the,
I'll go. Resolve,
Upon moved by myself and second by legal as registered vital statistics for the village of Owego. Roll call vote.
second,
Ron,
yes.
Laura,
yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Yes.
you there's, Ed's coming now.
I'm back. Are you calling for me?
Motion by Brandon, seconded by Village of Owego mileage rate will IRS standard mileage rate of 58.
Ron,
Yes.
Rusty, Laura, Ed,
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
So is Ed gonna vote?
Okay. So, whatever.
I move the finance, insurance commissioner, and clerk treasurer will review all insurance policies on all village property and buildings, including flood insurance, verify current status, and report status to the board at the second board meeting on April
We don't know.
18th, April 18th.
April 18th, 2022 at 20 Elm Street, Owego, New York.
Second,
All right, Ron,
Yes.
Rusty.
yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Ed, if you heard it,
Yes.
and yes, for me.
Just look where we are. Move that the planning board commissioner and the clerk treasurer will review the Tioga County Hazard Mitigation Plan, Village of Owego section, Village of Owego Comprehensive Emergency Management Plan, and report the state of each and need for revision if needed to the board at the first board meeting in May.
I second.
Ron,
Yes.
Rusty.
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes.
All right. Resolved that the grants commissioner and the clerk treasurer will review the status of all Village of Owego grants and report the status of each to the board at the second board meeting in June.
Second.
Ron,
Yes.
Rusty.
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. Charles, back to you.
Resolved upon motion by myself and second by whomever that the Village of Owego procurement policy will be reviewed by the Finance Commission and Clerk Treasurer, and recommendations for updates if needed be reported to the board of the second board meeting of April.
I second.
Ron,
Yes.
Rusty.
Yes.
Laura, Charles,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes.
Resolved upon motion by myself and second to have the wastewater treatment plant commissioner and director of utilities, Tracy Babcock, review the WWTP rates and make recommendations to the board at the first board meeting in January of 2023 for any needed increases, decreases, or other billing changes needed to fund the operation and maintenance of the WWTP.
Second.
Ron,
Yes.
Rusty.
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
And yes. Two round, I think.
Yeah. Sure.
Now, this is the one that just outlines all the meeting times and date. We're gonna have to change that because we left it kind of blank because we weren't sure what we were doing. And on the ones here, we left it blank on the dates for the variable fills and with the appropriate dates and changing the Mondays to Tuesdays.
Tuesday,
Are we staying Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah,
we take that
We just say Mondays, but we left it, did put them in. But part of your motion will be, I'll put them up for you again, but. That's the motion.
Yeah, you want me to read it? Presented.
Don't really have to do it.
I present this as presented.
And we're gonna fill in the Monday.
Right.
Just clear.
Second,
First and third Mondays at 7 PM right here.
Who said?
I did.
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Charles?
Absolutely.
Fran?
yes,
Ed?
Yes.
And yes for me. And next thing is the commissionerships, you still see them. It's the same, basically. And anybody have any questions or objections? I think you got that. No. No. That is, I think Rusty's turn.
If you have some changes on this one,
What's that?
the personnel.
Personnel.
Yes, are we ready for that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Move that personnel matters, including new hire interviews, will be handled by Personnel Committee consisting of the Personnel Commissioners, the affected Department Commissioner, and the Department Head. Personnel actions recommended by the committee will be reviewed by the mayor and brought to the village board of trustees. This policy shall include all full-time hires.
So if you have the agenda, we're taking out the
I'm
word.
taking out the word part-time hires. Mayor Beretta appoints the Personnel Committee.
I'll second that.
Ron?
so let me just ask, so, part-time hires choose to be recommended by the department head?
Correct. Which is kind of how we've been operating. So change it to.
Fran, the reason that I took that out is because we don't, when we want to hire somebody to shovel a walk or do any part-time things, we don't take a month and then bring out the interviews and the whole commission and stuff.
Well, we did when we hired part-timers for the EMS, so.
You certainly can, be not required.
Okay,
Well, you were required to under this before, but now you're not.
okay, gotcha.
All right, we'll vote on that. Ron?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes,
Ed?
Yes.
And yes. Couple more left.
Okay. Resolved to adopt the following resolution, whereas the code of the Village of Owego does not establish procedural rules for conduct of meetings of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Owego, and whereas New York Village Law Statute 4-412 gives the Board of Trustees of the Village of Owego the statutory authority to determine the rules of its procedure. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Owego adopt the document entitled NICOM Meeting Procedures, page or something, 5.5 to 5.9, as the rules of our procedures for the official year beginning this date.
Second.
Ron?
Is that what you?
Yes.
Yeah.
the heck is all that mean?
Parliamentary procedure.
I'm just going with the
That
icon.
controls.
Saying the book.
It's in the book. yeah.
Ron, that means we're not going to do that.
Okay,
It's in the book if you want the book. Yeah.
as long as nothing's changed, I am,
The same as we've been doing.
okay,
It's in the-
yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes,
Ed?
Yes.
And yes. One more.
resolve to continue to retain the law firm of Coughlin and Gerhardt.
Ooh.
I'll second.
As an eighth grader. Ron?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes,
Ed?
Yes.
And yes. All right, so that concludes the annual meeting. Now we'll move on. to the Regular meeting. Oh, what happened is we're on the clock.
26.
All right, first item on the regular agenda, public comment. Any public comment?
are you going up?
Oh, I have nothing.
Nothing, you signed up. All right, do I sit here, do I stand up, what do I do?
Yeah, we're on.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Someday maybe we'll have a fancy podium.
Wait, I can. So I have several things, actually.
Would you tell us who you are?
Yes, I will address who I am. I I am Ms. Dole. That's Teresa K. Dole. I own 342 Front Street. Okay? Is D-O-L-E,
Thanks.
like the banana. Okay? And ever since I bought that house, I've been yelled at by everyone. So lots of complaints about me and what I've done and what I haven't done. And shoveling and, et cetera, mulching my driveway, all kinds of things. Everybody's just been harassing me to death. So now the property is up for sale, in case anyone wants it. So I have several complaints. One is the water versus the sewer bill, okay? I have not been there, okay? Because I have another residence to live in. And my water bill, my water usage is zero, because it's empty, zero. Yet my sewer is as if, I have a family of 25 in there, okay? So, and I have with me the bills. My bill is $14, even though, or $16.
No control.
Hey, Ed, can you mute? Sorry.
Okay, so here's my water usage thing, okay? It cost me $16 a month, or, per month, $16.33 for zero usage, because there is the facilities charge and system improvement charge, revenue consolidation, and legal village total charges. Okay, usage zero. Okay, so I'm okay with that. But the Village of Owego sewer bill, okay, which is every quarter, is $146. The sewer is $141 plus capital improvement, $5 thing, okay? Even though I'm not using it at all. And I can't turn this off because I talked to the nice lady over there and she says, I can't do it. So why is the sewer bill not based on water usage?
Which is no longer tied to SWIS. We can no longer take in their recommendation on what they're billing, because it's not our entity doing it. It has to be a government entity, if I'm not mistaken, recording that, and that is a private agency. So the state said we can no longer use their water usage as the basis for our sewer rates. That's why we moved.
The state said that? So I have to go to Governor Hochul, is that what you're telling me?
You can try, but
I lived in Johnson City and I owned a 2-family in there, and they put the thing together. It was added on to the escrow, whatever. So that made sense to me. Your water usage, if you're watering your lawn, well, that's on you. but the sewer was based on the amount of consumption of water you had.
Right, and we used to be that way in the village as of 5 years ago, maybe.
Okay, can we change it back?
I wish we could.
Make a motion. I want a law change, something.
Suez won't give us the data.
Suez, I'll tell them. They are now bought out by somebody else anyway. So, what are they called now?
They're a private company.
yeah, but I'm, I'll go over there and ask them.
Give off those water usages to us anymore. As part of the Privacy Act.
Well, that doesn't seem like a very private thing, how much water you use, in the world of privacy.
We agree. So we went to a flat rate like what Ron said like 5 years ago. Because we have no idea that you're using none and whatever, you know what I mean? We at the village don't get that information and we can't.
Okay. Well, I can go over to Suez and beg them to disclose the information to you guys so that you can charge appropriate amounts of money.
We would love
Because this seems like this is wrong to me. Okay? So that was number one on my list of things to whine about, since everybody whines about me. Okay? The next thing is the village rules. My house, 342, is zoned residential 2. Okay? And I went and talked to Meg and asked Meg for the rules of residential 1, because I get all of residential 1, plus I get residential 2. What I want to know, and she said she was going to call me, but she didn't know the answer. What are the rules for putting steps into the river from my flood wall? I own that wall, plus I'm assuming 30 feet into the river. Are there rules that state how I can go into the river and with what materials and et cetera?
That's a good question.
Thank you.
I did not see that in code anywhere.
No. Rusty?
Do you want me to speak to that?
Sure.
Sure.
Our code, our village code wouldn't address that, doesn't address that. That doesn't mean that state or DEC, because of the river, doesn't have rules or regulations, which we are not part of or privy to. That would be theirs. So that's the answer for you. Our village code doesn't tell you that you can or can't do that.
Okay. Because what I would like to do is just go, step down. I think it's, it's a little bit taller than me, the wall. And then, so how many steps down? I don't know. Does there have to be rails on it? Does there have to be, or can I, what I want to do is just launch my kayak, I can just throw my kayak in there, go around and come back.
If I'm not mistaken, most code is any more than 3 steps, you need a railing. I mean, that's, at least for porches and stuff, I imagine it would be the same for something like that, just for safety.
But I don't want to
purposes.
put a railing in the river because the rail, when it floods, it's just going to take the railing away. So what I want to do is put big, huge blocks.
Right.
Lapi has bluestone and whatever. So for about $1,000, they said they would dump a huge load of
You're
stones.
talking like something on the back of the river walk? It's like, maybe on a.
My house, this is the old Cavatayo house. They had like
I apologize.
Halfway up Front Street.
yeah. So past the Strawberry, from the village, go past the Strawberry a little bit.
Okay.
And then before Ross Street. Okay. So, from there down, my driveway is higher, the street level's higher, then I go down and then I have a wall. Okay. And then from there, I go down into the river, into mudland or whatever, or water, depending on how high it is. Okay, so what I wanted to do was be able to launch a kayak from there and just bring it back up. I don't want to go down to over here, where you can actually launch.
Right.
So I could just throw it over the wall and rope it back up, but I wanted to do it correctly just in case it doesn't sell and I keep it and do it as an Airbnb. Okay.
You want to check with your insurance as well to see what their regulations are for any kind of step into a river. I don't know if you have, what policy you have, but that might be an outlet too, just to cover the other side for you.
Well, right now, I've canceled FEMA insurance. It's too much money. Okay, so out that went. And, I just have regular, fire and whatever. So if it floods, it's on me. Float the river, float the house on the river. So I can find out from what you said was the DEC, ask the DEC.
Yeah,
Contact,
they control a lot of the river stuff.
Okay. And,
Well, they're not really gonna be in the river.
yeah. So if I do it as an Airbnb, which is a rental location, I can rent out rooms, I can rent out the whole house. There's no regulations to stop me from doing that based on what I read in residential 1 and residential 2.
Other than, like Ron said, maybe just building code of the height of the stairway or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
really-
Mayor, folks, I would just recommend a lot of these questions seem like they would be appropriate for the code enforcement officer, not the village board.
That is true too. That's our lawyer.
That's our lawyer who is named what?
Nate Van Wyne,
Oh, Nate.
Coughlin and Gerhart. But that's true, so, I don't know if Meg got you in touch or not, but we can give you. Meg's
Yeah, she said she was gonna get back to me. So this is my first meeting. I usually go to the town of Owego meetings and present to Mr. Castellucci, so he's well aware of all of my issues with the bigger entity, okay? Because I happen to own several properties within that big entity. I only have one within the village, and the village rules are much more strict than the encompassing, whatever.
We can get you in contact with Nick. He's our code enforcement officer. We know a lot of that. stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was Terry Coleman. What happened to him?
It's full Mick. Mick is full-time and Terry's part-time, so.
Right, I talked to you already, right?
No, ma'am.
No?
You didn't talk to me.
I talked to Terry.
Michael Knapp.
Yeah.
K-N-A-P-P.
He's also village resident.
NAPP. Code enforcement. Okay,
He's our full-time guy. I think he's around Monday through Friday. 7:30 to 4 or something.
all right, fine. All right, and you thought I was done? No. The property that is across from Buffy, okay, everybody knows Buffy Arbo, the insurance agent for State Farm, is on Fifth Avenue. If you keep going around the curve, okay, let's just go that way, all right, on Front Street. And then there's the 15-mile-an-hour curve, okay? And then we get eventually over to MJ's, which is the end of the village. That property that is across the street there, right before the tracks, that piece of property I hear is up for reclamation because of, I should be addressing you, I guess, reclamation because of back taxes and whatever. That thing is falling apart. Okay, it's actually falling apart. It is an eyesore, it is a disaster. And for everybody who ever complained about me, they need to go look at that one. And so Buffy and I have had a conversation. She wants that thing taken down. I would like to see it taken down. If rules apply to me, that I was told that I had to mow my lawn up, down to golf course regulation and, to do certain things. I disagree with that actually, but okay. So I've been mowing my front lawn and leaving the back, but just for everyone to be happy, I mowed the backyard so that it's all, golf course regulation now.
Where are you getting that regulation from? The code is 18 inches.
18 inches.
Yeah.
Very excessively high to me, but
Well, 18 inches is what, I don't know. It looked to me like I wasn't in violation of anything, but there were many complaints about me. Rod, I think, is aware there were complaints about me. Terry Coleman also knows. So the other thing is a privacy deal, so the lawyer can answer this one. There are cameras staring at my house from the neighbors, and I believe that they're the ones that complain about me, although it's not public information who the complainant is, if that's the right word to use, lawyer talk. So I understand that it's legal to point as many cameras as you like from one house to another. The cops showed me, I didn't even notice that they had about 5 cameras staring at me. It is very disconcerting to, I can't even walk from one room to another without them knowing exactly what I'm doing. So I don't care for that, but it's legal, I guess, right? Is that true? Lawyer person, sorry, Mr.
that doesn't seem like best
Nathan.
practice.
Yeah, so I don't typically answer questions like that in an open forum. I mean, if you're looking for legal advice, I would always suggest that you consult with an attorney, not myself, because I represent the village.
Okay. Okay. Is that all I think so.
I will say
No.
the county handles the tax auctions as far as the house goes.
Who handles it?
The county treasurer.
The county too. That is,
Jim McFadden.
Yeah, he's the county treasurer. They put them up for auction once or twice a year. And we do. Same stuff, lawn grass and whatever.
Difference is when we finally do it, we mow it for them and bill them a couple $100
At least.
for our time, manpower, insurance, to try to motivate them to mow it themselves. So that is how we.
right,
do
but the
it.
house is falling down, so I mean, mowing the
That's a
lawn.
whole different entity in itself.
I think a bank owns that house, so it's always a battle.
As far as yards and sidewalk shoveling, that's how we handle that type of safety stuff as far as the neighborhoods are concerned.
Yeah, I also asked the nice lady over there that takes money, why don't we, with all the village tax that I pay, have a street sweeper that actually does the sidewalks? Instead of relying on every single person to keep the sidewalks clean.
I've never had a problem cleaning my own sidewalk. I mean, that's just my personal opinion.
Different idea.
I do it for my store, my house, my neighbors. If everybody did their own little 30-foot section, it would be a beautiful village.
Right, but there are cases where I understand I have 24 hours to clear the sidewalk. By the time I get out of my own driveway, which is 1/10 of a mile long, after a foot of snow, I'm pretty tired and I'm not gonna go over here to shovel, 70
That's
feet.
why some people sub that out to contractors.
Right.
I mean, that's just.
Yeah, and that's all money too. So
I understand.
there's just a huge amount of money expense with a single house.
Maybe you need
So
some
my
neighbors.
bad,
I
purchase.
I snow blow my neighbors. I do have my block because
Oh,
I
okay.
like my
Can you
neighbors.
come do mine? Since you're- Okay,
Honestly, on the village forum, if people would look out for their neighbors more, we'd have a lot less problems.
okay.
I do that on my street too. Cause I got a snow blower and they don't, so
Yeah.
takes me 5 minutes.
All right. Thank you, village board.
All right, thank you. Any other public comment?
Don't fight, Mike.
I might be at the meeting, but
We'll wait. Department head reports. Got you guys over there. Segregated, just chilling. Tracy? got anything?
I don't have anything until we get down into some of the.
Okay.
I have anything first.
Fred, you got anything?
I had nothing, but unless you want to know what we did.
If you want. Go for it.
Cleaning Erie Street underneath the underpass. We picked up tree leaves and brush up at the cemetery. We were getting ready to start a summer lawnmowers and stuff to that effect. Repairs, judge's chamber.
Do we have anything from police or fire?
I do not.
I didn't talk to Joe today.
Yeah,
Weird.
neither one of them talked to me today. I do not have something from them today.
Yeah, I didn't hear from Jim in a while. Do we have anything from Robin?
No, nothing other than, question is, what does she have to do to get the monthly MedX report? I mean, we have to foil the village?
You know, make me remember to do it. I can get into it, yeah. So, I'll do
Tell Mike every day for a month.
it. Yeah, I'll do it. He does text me about it, so I forget.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, into the agenda. First item, promotions at the wastewater treatment.
I move to approve the promotion of Dirk Mosier to Chief Wastewater Treatment Plant Operator.
I'll second that.
Discussion, maybe Tracy wants to explain.
He's number one on the list, civil service list. So, been with us for, I'm gonna say approximately 5 years, time gets away from me, so. Very good employee, so.
Any discussion about that?
I was just going to add that, yeah, he's fulfilled his certification, et cetera, and he's now getting this title.
That's the test with the number one score. Ron?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
We lost Ed. Yes from me.
I moved to approve the promotion of Joshua Bowden Judson to Water and Wastewater Treatment Plant Operator Trainee.
I'll second.
Joshua's only been with us a few months. He's, catching on and doing stuff at the plant at a remarkable speed. He's, showed the initiative to go up from the motor equipment operator to trainee. He was signed up for the very first test that he could take and scored, top number one on the list with that. And just looking forward to all the training and everything we can get him as far as getting his license down the road and everything. So he's fitting in extremely well at the plant. And we look forward to, teaching him as far as the licensing and everything goes for the wastewater license down the road.
Any other discussion about that? Ron?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
And yes. Next item, home rule resolution.
Want me to just keep going?
Yeah, somebody.
I move to approve the home rule resolution for the village to request legislation that would authorize the village to petition the Public Service Commission and order Suez to bill all ratepayers in their water bills for the hydrant rental fees.
I'll second.
So this is a motion that we need to take the next step in this process of trying to get Suez to bill our hydrant rental fees instead of Suez charging us, and then us having to tax our way to pay.
Right, that way it's more evenly dispersed among nonprofits and other things.
Right.
Right now, half the village is tax exempt. So the people that are paying taxes are also paying for the hydrant fees, which are around $60,000 a year. So we're gonna divide that up. It's everybody that uses the service will have a little chunk of it. And the question is, should I change Suez to the, I'll get on interest.
If we know it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Viola.
Yeah.
Suez and or it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
successor.
I'll put a little something.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if it's necessary, that whole resolution is part of the motion, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put that.
I'm not reading all.
No, but just.
That's presented, Ron.
My line. All right, we'll vote on that. Ron?
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Yes. It's not right there. Yes. for me. Next item is pay applications. So these, I think, actually are the last ones. I signed all of the completions for the building we're sitting in. So everything is done. These are the last pay applications for each contractor. What we do is we hold back a certain percentage until final completion, and we actually accept the property, and then we pay up like a security deposit kind of thing.
So they cover all the punch list and all that stuff. Do we still have that nice little mailbox at floor level up there?
We do, there's only 2 or 3 things left to clean up. Right.
I move to approve pay apps from Delta for the new municipal building in the amount of $4,140 and $8,787.50. You want me to read all these?
I don't believe, well, we could do them all. Make a couple, so we could do them all as presented. Is that the right word, Nate?
As presented is always recommended.
So,
You want me to redo that one?
sure.
I move to approve all the pay apps from Delta for the new municipal building as presented.
Can you just
Maybe
say
take out the word
Delta?
delta, because it's all different.
Yeah. It's like for the-
I thought they were the umbrella over everything.
They are, but
The 4 pay apps.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Directly.
The 4 pay app.
As presented.
Pay apps as presented.
there we go.
I second.
Okay. Vote on that. Ron,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Ed, if you could hear us.
I'm getting so much feedback. I've logged in and out like 5 times now. So
Oh.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, yes from me. Okay, next item is transfer. This is $29.60 from insurance recovery to repairs.
What's this?
Repairs of what?
This one. Yeah, insurance on.
Yeah. I think it's
Is that the line item? Is that what the?
Yeah, the line items.
Yeah, the numbers and,
2680.
and it's 3120. All right.
Contracted services.
Yeah, it's contracted services for the auditor, part of the auditor's fees.
Repair for what?
Auditor's fee.
Auditors, generals.
Gotcha.
That's the 929.60.
Yes.
That's for repairs?
Oh, well, let's see what we had. 3120.
On 20, 45, 60.
Oh, 456.
45, 60.
We just table this until we get more information on this, or?
Just bypass that, I'll do this.
You're working.
I'll do this.
All right, next thing is 90 Temple Street snow and ice guards for the roof.
Mr. Mayor,
Rusty.
I move that we approve the low bid on 90 Temple Street for roof snow and ice guards in the amount of $35,700. So that's, and forget the next little part, contingent on state approval. Because there is a glitch about the state having control over our building, et cetera. I'm in the middle of my motion, I shouldn't be doing that, but
Yes.
take the other piece out about ARPA funds and put a contingent on state, but have a contingent on state approval.
Well, we have to specify in there how we're.
We have to specify whether we're going to use,
Well, we could just say
Grant.
payable out of municipal repairs. We don't have to say.
the ARPA funds. And let's say that.
Once again, there's line item.
But we do have to say how we're gonna pay for it.
From municipal building repair.
Right, we don't necessarily have to say that we're gonna put that money
So,
into the.
as I was saying, approved low bid, amount of $35,700 with payment from a 16/20/40/093 municipal building repair. Strike the next part and sends contingent on state approval. Is that what we need, Tracy?
My only question is on the estimate, they're asking for 17,000 down. And then the remainder due after completion, so do we need to put that in a motion? I guess that's.
Maybe really help us. I don't think we need to put that in motion. I guess, do they understand, which this may just be a question to them, but do they understand that we can't touch that building without?
I have brought that up to them.
So it might not be like a next week kind of
I
job.
have brought that up to them. We're going to just have to get the approval first, so they are aware of that.
Okay.
Hey, look, we won't need ice cards for 8 months.
Need a second for my motion.
I'll second.
May, what do you, 17 now?
Yeah, I think making clear that the award is contingent on state approval is important, because that contingency based on the grant award that we've received and the deed restrictions is very important.
Yeah. What about the down payment? Is that, do we need to put that in a motion?
All payment has to be contingent.
Right.
The down payment has to be contingent also.
Right.
Yeah, right.
But it's included in the final price, however it's paid.
Right, what if you split it off?
Yeah, it doesn't really say how we're gonna. All right. So, I think it's okay. Rusty?
So they want a down payment now or soon, and they can't have a down payment now or soon.
Right.
Because we simply don't have all the stuff. So let's not put the down payment.
Right. They can have a down payment once it's approved.
Yeah, please, we're not going to put that in. Sorry, I can't give it to you yet.
All right. So, do we have any more discussion on that topic? Vote, Ron,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes,
Ed, if you can hear us,
Yes.
and yes.
Yeah, the one above that we were hesitating about. This goes to the repairs to the police department, and it's just under their line item for repairs. It could be cars, it could be whatever. So it's probably cars, because it's insurance recovery.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's insurance recovery, so repairs is something that the police department, I'm assuming, covers.
We did have a couple of accident things, and we got some insurance money from them. So we're just taking that money that we got from one of those accidents and putting it into their repair line.
So that's the one above.
Okay, so it's police department.
Yeah, we need a motion on
car
that.
repairs.
Okay, does you want to do that, Rusty?
Yes, certainly. Move we approve the transfer of $929.50 from insurance recovery A 2680 to police repairs in the police line item A 312-40560.
I second.
Okay, any other discussion about that? Ron,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes,
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. All right, so back on the regular schedule. We are at 2% tax cap override. We call our friends at NICOM and SNE. And we can, well, we have to, if we're going to do the 2% tax cap override, we have to pass the law before we pass the budget. We can do it anytime up until we pass the budget, basically.
Mr. Mayor,
Rusty?
move we set a public hearing to override the 2% tax cap on April
18.
18th.
I'll second.
Any discussion about that?
Just not that it matters, just a quick one. I had asked before, because my recollection was that we had always done that in the fall, so I was concerned whether that was a requirement. And I just talked to Kevin Millar older mayor, and he said, no, they did that for a particular reason. It wasn't required that it be done ahead of time, which is what we found out.
Good, so. We did the time limit. Vote on setting that public hearing. Ron,
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
It is not listening. Vote yes. Parking spaces in the business district.
This is one that I sent in for. I move that the village request that the state be solicited to pay definitive parking spaces on state roadways within the village's business district, or permission for the village's DPW to paint the aforementioned parking spaces.
I'll second that.
I will say we already took care of this one.
We've already done this?
We had a meeting with the state on another thing. We asked them about this. And they gave us permission to paint whatever we want, as long as we do it.
My fingers.
And get a work permit from who's working on their road. But they'll let us paint whatever we want.
Does that make the motion go?
We can still pass it if we want.
Does the system work?
Okay, well, we'll vote. Ron,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
and yes. Advice from our parking committee.
Yes.
But yeah,
Oh, yeah,
no,
to do the painting is absolutely right for the parking.
so grab those guys,
Yeah, right in front of your place.
get with the parking committee and paint your parking spots. All the state said was they have to be obviously legal spots, and they would love it if we made the markings clearer than they are, so that there's not as much confusion.
In my experience in business, it's a blank canvas, people park wherever, and it's
Right.
very hard to get maximum parking potential.
So the state DOT's on board.
Mr. Mayor,
Rusty?
would you like to give the authority to the parking committee to work with Fred on these
Definitely.
things?
And maybe just table over here, Fred.
The parking committee.
Yeah, you guys are the parking.
We volunteered for that. We are very young.
I don't volunteer well.
All three of them or just the two of them?
I'm on it.
So yeah, the state would love us to clear that up.
Well, that, before we go any further, the street sweeper. Mayor?
Yeah.
We are, the letter that we got, that the new one won't be made until, yeah, so I spent a little money and got the other one fixed up and running.
Good.
So we're gonna get that out on the street and hope for the best, that it works good enough. But just so the people know that it's still gonna be like a smoke, it's gonna be more smoky.
Yeah,
But,
Really does.
gonna be dusty.
yeah,
Buy some push brooms if you want.
excuse
You
me?
can buy some push brooms if you want.
You okay? You're gonna get out of one of those.
We are eventually getting a shiny new one with the town and,
Oh, Jesus, gee.
but they haven't.
Another,
yet.
yeah, that's another hassle is gonna be coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
But that's not coming out till end of spring, beginning of summer before it's even thought about being here. It's not even built yet.
So that's good. Ours is hopefully functional.
We're gonna have to have a meeting, yeah, so when we're gonna be able to get it, when's Nichols gonna get it, town of Owego,
As far as sharing goes, yeah,
yeah,
we'll see how that pans out.
yeah, in storage and then maintain it.
Luckily, it was all pretty much grant paid for.
I assume this parking thing would be like when we block parking for snow removal or whatever. Just-
The paint,
Right,
yeah,
just block certain streets off and.
like they just did on page.
Yeah.
Poles, right?
We're pretty much just doing Front Street, right?
North, I think of North.
All North Ave too,
Well,
Just
Central Business District.
North Front,
where the time park
Court
is
Street.
essentially.
wow.
Court Street.
Central
also.
Business District, anything that's just got a long thing that doesn't designate it 20 feet parking spaces. Right?
Well,
And
Court
other,
Court Street is part of the,
Right, it's part of the.
if it's not
It's not
broken
our-
up into pieces, then that's part of it.
We'll talk about it at the committee.
okay.
But you can be.
Okay, now you guys can do a good job. Tell us what you're.
The cleaning of the underpass was really nice. The fire department helped out too, or no? Okay,
No, we did it ourselves.
okay. Did you do that with the street sweeper?
No, we did it by hand. We had a little tractor sweeper, and then
Okay.
we had sweeper in the street picking it up after we swept it.
You got a lot of gunk up. It really got it nice and clean down
It
there.
does look good.
Yeah.
Jimmy Morris was going to do it with the fire truck after we cleaned it,
Uh-huh.
but it rained and I said there was no sense in it.
Okay.
So it looked good.
Yeah, it did. It looked, yeah, it was totally.
We're starting on the
way better.
fairgrounds now, trimming all the trees on the walks all the way around.
Very
So
nice.
just clean it up and the overhang in case there was a fire or ambulance or something, so they didn't hit all the trees. So that's why we started the fairgrounds now.
Thank you, Brett.
Thank you.
All good stuff. All right, next item is payment of bills. Oh, Rusty.
Because I was mumbling before, anyway, the public hearing, I think it was at 7 PM.
Oh.
7 PM was the public hearing next April 18th.
Yeah, that's what we should do in the beginning.
It's gotta be in there. It says.
All right, next item, payment of bills. Where you get them? Any questions?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I know. Always gotta pay it.
It's the
Can I
past
pay the
life.
closing meeting subscription?
I paid you back, you got it, somebody will be 25.
They can all get it, it's okay.
These are the leftover payment of bills from last month or the last meeting.
No, this is just, we left over
The
the.
treasurer's report.
Okay.
Okay,
This is the payment bill.
okay. Okay, I motion for the payment of bills.
Second.
All right, vote on those, Ron,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
and me, yes.
Oh, I see.
Oh, we got Ed back there. Do you want to vote on the payment of bills?
I'm a yes.
Yes. Screws up the numbers.
I'll make it.
You can watch the video. All right, treasurer's report, this is what we held over from last meeting because there was issues with the.
I explained best I could to Fran that we got much concern. There was a gift and donation one, shows it going in and it shows it going out to the maintenance for cemetery roads or it's already in there. And then we got a plan to take some of the money that we have, a little excess in some of the checking accounts, we're gonna take those and go into CDs and so that they can be used as a cemetery.
What was that first name you said? I'm sorry.
We took $5,000. We got it, somebody left in their will left us $5,000 for the use for the cemetery. So it showed up as gifts and donations, and we took it out of there, and we gave it to the cemetery.
In your budget.
Cemetery budget for cemetery maintenance, road repair, whatever. And, guardrail, whatever, so there's an extra 5,000 in your account for that.
I will get some quotes on your.
Thank you.
With the state up in there. I just curious, if they're very good drivers of the county or something.
I don't know.
There might be somebody they use, state bid or something.
Yeah, I got, a bunch of people from the state, I can get a hold of them and find out who they use.
You need a motion on
Oh, yeah, we need a motion and a second to approve the treasurer's report.
I motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I'll second that.
All right.
that. Yes, sir.
Any other discussion about treasurer's report? Ron,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
and yes. We got minutes. Also, I found some stuff I was supposed to do in the
Oh, that's true.
annual meeting. I guess I could do it now.
Gonna do the minutes
Let's
first.
do the minutes.
Yeah, let's do the minutes and then we'll do
No, I'll put
I
that,
got two
I'll put
things
that
here.
in. We'll go back to that.
For the minutes, I'd like to motion to approve the minutes for the March 21st meeting with one correction. Under the department head reports, the first motion is for a hire, and I motioned yes for the hire, and it has me as a no. So just with that correction, motion to approve, no?
Yeah, why do you say no to him? Right, I know you said no to something.
The first one, but the first motion I said I was a no, and the second one I was yes.
We had to.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Laura, been done.
Good, second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any other discussion or comments about the minutes? We'll get that vote fixed. Ron,
Yes.
Rusty,
Abstain. Partly my fault. No minutes available.
Laura,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
that's gone, and I vote yes. Okay. So the next thing, and Nate can probably help me if we need to vote on this.
You want this to be financial?
Oh, we can do it here.
You want me to read it?
Commissioners,
You do
I can read it.
yeah, go.
Okay. A motion to appoint James Overheiser as the chair of the Commission of OHPC, beginning with the April 7 OHPC meeting for a 3-year term ending in 2025.
Second? Is this a mayoral appointment? Is this a board appointment or how's this work?
This was a CLG, CLG, so this is from their annual
I
report.
don't remember, Nate, to help us when we made the law. We have to just vote on all that. I think we do.
I think it's why it's right here.
I think we do.
Okay.
So voting members of the commission are appointed by the mayor, subject to approval of the village board.
So yes, we need to vote.
So you're going to appoint Mr.
James Overheiser as chair, and obviously on the commission of this term ending in 2025.
Now, would you like to
Uh,
move that we approve the mayor's
Move to
appointment?
approve.
Second? Approve?
Ron,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes.
and yes. And then I would reappoint Brian Kennedy on the commission for a 3-year term ending in 2025.
I move that we approve the mayor's appointment of, say the name again, Mike,
Brian Kennedy.
Brian Kennedy to the OHPC commission.
Are you just doing the ex officio members?
No,
Because he's already,
his term expires this year.
oh, yes, okay.
That's what made it.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay. There's 2 things that they lined up for us.
Anyway, I move that we approve the mayor's appointment, Brian Kennedy.
Ron,
Second.
Who seconded it?
Ron. So we'll vote Ron,
Yes.
Rusty.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Charles. Yes. Fran.
Yes.
And yes. And then go back to the top.
Let's see.
I move that we accept the copy of the certified local government annual report. It's something that we have to do.
Second?
All right, and she emailed it to me. So I did.
Oh, sure.
Ron,
Yes.
Rusty.
Yes.
Laura.
Yes.
Charles.
Yes.
Fran.
Yes.
Okay. Next thing, I appoint ex officio commissioners, Chris Knickerbocker and Julie Nucci, for a one-year term ending in 2023.
I'll second it.
It's a separate. If it's your appointment and we accept it, then I vote we accept the thing.
Okay.
So it's Fran.
Now you can say it.
Yeah, I will, do we accept those appointments?
Ron,
Yes.
Rusty.
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
and yes. I have to vote for this, I don't know. And also, OHBC has informed us, this is nothing we need to vote on, but keep in mind, when we do our next budget, they would like us to include $1,800 in the budget to cover administrative costs and continuing education costs, which the commissioners have been paying out of pocket, but, you know, up until now.
Apparently, take it under.
But apparently not.
We will take it under advisement.
When we do the budget, we should give them some money to get reimbursed. Yeah,
Take it under advisement.
which you can. And then we have a liquor license, which these are just really for our information. I think we can make an objection if we really feel that strongly. But it's Leonardo's Wine Bar LLC, 34 Lake Street.
This is something brand
Is it a new business?
Your business.
new. Yeah. It's a couple of doors down from Boswell's.
So anyway, they're filing for a liquor license.
And they have to notify us, then we, they have to do a lot other than that, but they notify us in case we have objection, you know, but they have any business. I don't know.
Now, you have to do any kind of a resolution for that or anything?
I didn't quite hear what Rod was saying. Say it again.
He just thinks that they notify us in case we have an objection to their liquor license. Is that true?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that's effectively what they're asking for. If we have any objections for it. If you have any objections for it, then you would need to do a resolution. If you don't have any objections, no action is perfectly fine.
Okay.
We don't mind knowing a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Just somebody, we don't know anything.
Is, we got their names here. Did you get it?
I have this.
Yeah, it's in that cover.
Does anybody know, I know Rodney says it's a couple doors down. Does anybody know where 34 Lake Street is?
It is, it's a weird building. So it's, it has,
Scabarra.
yeah,
Joe Scabarra, the old Moose Club.
the old Moose, yeah.
What's downstairs there now?
On the bottom floor, there's a business that has like balloons and things in it, and,
Lily's Loft used to be on one side, and somebody else.
Yeah. The,
Lily's Loft.
Okay.
Whatever that was.
Before she moved to Front Street. Yeah, so Catherine, it's right by Baldwin.
so it's a building that has multiple businesses on the first floor, and then it has businesses on the upper floors as well. That's the one that has, the aerobics studio, right, on the
Yeah,
third
so-
floor.
So do we know if this is a full bar? It says it's a wine bar. Do we know what kind of license they're getting? Are they getting a full license? Are they just getting a wine and beer license? Are they, I'm just curious about what the business is, what the deal is, rather than us not knowing anything about it.
I don't know.
This is all we get.
Doesn't say what kind of license they're getting.
Should hold off on it until we get more information.
I don't see why you want to go out on it.
Because we don't know anything about it. That's why I want to hold them up. I don't know anything about this. I don't know. Can we move along? So Nate says if we take no action, then that's fine. If we have an objection, we make an objection. So there is no action for us to take other than an objection, which we don't have right this moment. We might look at this and see if it's something that we would have an objection to, but at this moment, we don't know anything about it to have an objection.
I think that situation's mainly put in there in case you saw that it was a real problem person that opens bars and they become,
Yeah, we want to know something.
I don't know that.
Generally speaking, the reasons for an objection relate to known issues with the location previously, or issues perhaps pertaining to the proposed owner of the facility. If this is an allowed use under our zoning code, then, and without any issues otherwise, I can't really think of too many reasons why a municipality would object to something like this.
Okay. So, is that a problem?
Once again, the filer is someone from a company called Legal Zoom Company from Austin, Texas. Don't know anything about this. Okay. Try to find out.
Next item is trustee reports. Ron?
Still in the CSEA negotiations, hopefully wrapping that up pretty soon. Julie Nucci did stop by and tell me that she's been on the email that FEMA is increasing the percentage of help from 9 to 90%, leaving the local 10%. I guess there's a short time window on that, by June 1st or something that equivalent. I really think it's something we need to look into if we have any funds to kind of.
So, we forgot to bring this up.
I thought you were going to do your report.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna. Hunt, our engineering firm, has offered to help us write the application because they have grant writers.
Right.
To get for the generators, because they've already kind of looked at it. And they've offered to do it for free, to write the application and submit it for us, under the assumption that if we get the grant, they would do the engineering for us for the generators.
I just want to make sure this didn't get swept under the carpet.
Well, yeah,
This is a great,
80 to 90, which
yeah,
is great.
this is an amazing opportunity.
So it was 75 before, so 75, so,
So I guess up to 90 now.
and
So we have maxed by 10%?
Yeah.
And when we had a meeting in here, we had spoken about what could we afford. It would be wonderful if we got 10 or 12 generators, but what could we afford at 75, 25? At 90, 10, whoa, we probably need to really,
I know Hunt's looked at it, they've quoted over, not quoted us, but thinking about like 8 or 9 generators.
8 generators is their proposal.
and this 90, 10, is it just generators? Because that was just one thing we were looking at. We now might want to sniff some other things too.
This
You know, it's not
also
much
is
time.
good for the community as well. Anybody looking to raise their house, move their electrical up to the non-floodable floor, FEMA will cover 90% of that cost for you. You just have to apply by June 1st, I believe.
Yeah.
It's just a really good opportunity because apparently there's a lot of disposable income in New York State for this.
Nobody's applying, I guess.
Spread the word.
So potentially, how much is that 10% going to cost us?
We don't know until we get the estimates, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And then obviously we have to figure out how much we can afford, but
I
Okay.
mean, put it, like
So
$900,000, we gotta spend 90.
Yeah.
So we
Okay,
got-
gotcha.
But it's also homeowners, if they want to raise their house.
Right.
It costs 200,000, it'll cost them
20.
20,000.
Yeah.
Versus, before it was
Is that a
50,000.
size in Curry?
I don't know.
This is just going to start out, it's going to be kind of quick.
I mean, they have till June 1st. I mean, that's not long.
Right, I think that's part of the issue with the paper is the time frame to get it in there. So we're trying to find other methods of informing. The paper is definitely,
Press release or something together to help that out. Facebook, same as WEBO usually helps us out.
I think it'd be shameful for us to miss this opportunity, or at least
Yeah.
expose it to our residents.
Hunt will help us with ours. What if somebody wants to raise their house? How do they go about it? Do they have to,
I don't know.
yeah, I don't know how they apply.
We can help them. So the village would help them apply for it, but the property owner has to, we enable the property owner to do it. So that's how the town is doing it. They have properties that, they're owned by their property owners, and then they're gonna condemn the properties and knock them down. And the owners get the buyout, they get money from the buyouts.
We're talking about raising this.
So for us, there can be properties that if the person who owns it has like a very rundown property can be condemned, and they can, we can enable them to get the buyout for it to be taken down. And we looked at a couple houses, but we weren't able to secure the owner of one to do it. But the bank owns another property that we couldn't get going under this program to get anything addressed to, but we've tried. But if anybody does have a home that can be elevated, this is the time to do it. But it's you have to do a lot of work, but it's worth the money, the effort. So there is somebody who's looking into it on Front Street, who's already done a big grant after the flood. So there's already a lot of paper generated for that. So we could have one house get elevated from this that could take advantage of it. And then anybody else who's serious about getting their house lifted, it's like, this is a great amount of money to do it. And then you should definitely get in on it. And then for people who would like to raise their services, we would have to get a group of us, or somebody within within the village to provide the oversight for like at least 10 people or so to do those projects, but they won't operate with the homeowners for the small things. Like we're the entity.
We gotta be the liaison.
Not through OHPC, it's a federal program. We can use state funds, but no other federal funds for this. But we act in the middle as representatives for the homeowners, the property owners.
Yeah, we've done that on a bunch of Main Street grants and stuff like that.
So my question still is, if somebody wants to raise their house, who, will the village, will the town, will somebody be, just as Hunt will be our grant writer for our things, will somebody do this for the homeowner? Do they have to go out and do this themselves?
Julie Nucci offered to help with some of it. And so at least for these applications, getting them in, she's the lead.
Okay.
People could contact me or her and we can get you going on it.
Understanding that the homeowner had to-
Wherever.
They have to be the applicant. I just wondered if they could have somebody,
I mean, it definitely
Do
doesn't
it.
hurt getting people versed in the ways.
just as we have to be the applicant for the generators, but Hunt's going to do it. That's going to move in.
I mean, they could obviously hire somebody to do it, but we could also, there's people in the village that we could lean on to help them out, probably.
Just for the purposes of us getting into the grant or getting the list of houses into the grant, they'll help do that. Not the paperwork further on, but just getting in.
Owego help with that?
They could, yeah,
Is there people applying?
they could.
This would also help with our CRS status, wouldn't it, if we do start doing flood mitigation things?
Would help.
Yeah,
Yeah, which that was one of the things we looked into was Whitesmiths.
yeah.
I don't know if that's eligible, I forget the outcome of that.
I think that was a no. They got back from that. But this was a federal grant that Julie used and Jim O'Reiser to elevate their house some years ago over on Main Street.
She's
So
been
this
through
is
it.
that-
she knows it.
yeah. Yeah, so this is that same grant program coming through again.
Heck of a process to watch.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work.
A lot of paperwork up front too, but you can get a lot of the money paid too.
There's, in my opinion, one downside to Harry Melany's house in Bio, that's forever green after that.
Right.
You cannot build on that property once it's been bought out.
Because FEMA money
Right.
versus like a land bank kind of deal.
Right. Take that as what it is.
I just wrote one thing, speaking of your evergreen, I've got quite a few inquiries of people that, we have these houses we've torn down, flats, a couple of different places. The neighbors have been mowing, taking care of them for years. They would like to buy them, or however we gotta do to get it to them. Then it kind of takes off our headache. Because there's, if you look at all the sidewalks and all the mowing and all this stuff, there might be 6 or 7 or 8 properties around there that are just sitting there. We're responsible, liable, all that stuff. I think it should go back to the neighbors that are interested, reasonable fee, pay the closing costs or whatever.
And then we get a small amount of money back to the tax pool.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing substantial, but something.
Right, and they know that it's forever green, they can't
Right.
build on it or whatever, but it just takes, I don't know, maybe Freddie wants to keep it for something. But
No.
So I
They
think
put swing sets or anything, or I
Yeah,
don't know what
they-
the regulation
Yeah,
is.
you can do swing sets, can't build a house.
Yeah, you can't do a garage, but you can have a swing set.
Structure.
Yeah.
Infrastructure.
Permanent structures.
I don't know the guidelines on that.
Could they do like an above ground pool,
I don't believe so.
that type of thing? It's not permanent.
On a structure, maybe. We'll find out.
Well, we did like maybe a round pool, like give away with that, but you can do it in ground pool.
Yeah, as I'm saying, above ground.
Probably.
Let's look
If
at
the question ever arises, we can look into that.
Yeah, just pave over it and put stripes in.
Could do that too.
Only for the
It's
family.
not green, Charles.
Well, they think the green stripes.
I think we should look at that in the future. Unload these.
Everybody's done talking on my touch-free report.
Yes.
I think so.
I'm done.
Okay. Never had.
Sorry, Ryan.
No, that's long-winded.
Rusty, you got anything?
No report at this moment.
Laura?
Yeah, so for the next board meeting, can I have a couple things added to the agenda? The OHPC's request for the budget line for their expenses, the 1,800 request line. So we can find a place for that to be.
But what would that mean?
So they used to have it in the past, so it's just reinstating it wherever it was. It paid for when they got the plaques that they would award the houses and put on the buildings. The award dinner paid for the,
What are you looking for next year? 'Cause
well,
this year's budget's kind of set.
okay.
We could, it could start in August.
If it could just be, like, it's not like really a budget line, but I'm like, or just something within, it'd be within the DPW budget, but just like a designated line, because it pays for the minutes. So it was in there in the past. And so wherever it was, if it can just be reinstated.
The problem is,
When did they take
we
it
have
off?
to.
It got removed, OHPC was removed maybe 2016.
Well, it certainly got removed.
Yeah, 4.5 years ago.
Yeah, and then it was reinstated in 2018, but the budget line just wasn't added back in. So,
Well, I mean,
So if we want to do it into this year's budget, we'd have to find that money in a different line item. Put it in OHPC's.
I remember doing it, paying their mileage and for their training.
Yeah.
I mean, don't do.
we gotta be, I have no problem with it.
yeah, so, okay, so if, just whatever the mechanism is, I'd like it put back in so that they know that they have that money to them somewhere stated. Because we're required to, pay, we're required to have the minutes and we can pay somebody to do that.
Well, okay, here's one thing. We only really have 3 months left, say this year, 3 more months. So they wouldn't need $1,800 for this year.
right?
They definitely would like it for next year, starting off.
Yeah.
So that's, it's easier just to start it on.
Okay,
I mean, that's not.
Try to throw something.
yeah,
They've asked in the report that we consider designing this into the next village budget. They didn't ask for it. I'm just saying they didn't ask for it right this minute. They wanted us to. But next budget's coming right up. They would like that in there.
Yeah, we'll be working on that soon.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that's enough, quick enough or not.
$150 a month.
No, it's not a problem.
No, I mean, if you wanted to somehow finish off, we're looking at.
okay, so yeah, I would like it sort of figured into the next budget
Sure.
for OHPC to have the 1,800. And then also, I would like the planning board to have a $1,000 line and the zoning board to have a $1,000 line as well. And that is stated in our code that we have, that we as the board can hire, or not hire, I'll read
Something for the minutes.
I'll read what it says.
That'll be the same deal. If we gave it to them this year, before August, we have to find it from another line item. It's not currently in there.
Yeah, maybe like we don't actually have to have it as a budget line item, but we need to just show that they get paid. We're required that they do. All right, let me find where it says so.
No idea you're at contention of the board paying somebody to take minutes. We've had conversations about this previously.
Yeah, now these are publicly available minutes, right?
Mhm. The Board of Trustees may provide for compensation to be paid to experts, clerks, and a secretary, and provide for such other expenses as may be necessary and proper, not exceeding the appropriation made by the Board of Trustees for such purpose. So if we have $50 a meeting for the note taker, and they have 12 a year, that's $600. And then they could possibly have a couple extra meetings, special meetings called. Sometimes in the past, people have purchased recorders or tapes, and they would be reimbursed. All these trainings are free, but sometimes there are things that you can do that are paid for. And this is how people get reimbursed for their training if it is a paid one, or the trips. I went with OHPC to a training in Corning and was included. So I would just like $1,000 sort of set that they'll know that they're going to be paid and that those expenses will be met. Rusty?
Would that be acceptable to you, that we include this in our budget, village budget negotiation talks, and strongly consider these things? Is that all right?
Yeah.
Because we're not supposed to be deciding that tonight, that we're doing the budget. That'll be part of the budget discussion.
Well, she was proposing that we put this on the agenda this week to vote on. That was their original question.
The original thing was to ask us to put it in next year's budget, was their original question, which is what we're certainly going to consider to do.
Yeah, I want to talk about it so we can get it on. So how do we,
On the budget negotiation?
What is included in the budget?
okay,
When we have our various budget meetings and our budget discussions,
Budget workshop?
we'll talk, workshop, that'll be something that we're strongly considering doing soon.
So currently they do have a line item in the budget. So
okay, so I would like to, yeah, I'd like to
You'd
get
like to
that
fix that.
we
fixed.
can also add to that, we can put underneath that training. zoning.
Okay,
All those things, yeah.
that would be great to work that in. Okay, and then I would like to recommend Jane Taylor for the zoning board. You've received his letter of interest for a 3-year term. And that would be taking over the seat of Jeff Van Wagenen, whose term has expired.
Nate, how does the zoning board work?
So if a board member's term has expired, then the village board should be appointing somebody to take the new term of office.
So Laura's.
I'm
okay.
recommending,
Is there a motion?
yeah, I'm recommending Shane Taylor.
I know the planning board is.
Is yours, the zoning board is in the code at the board of trustees.
I would like to second Laura's motion.
The mayor, Mayor, I apologize real quickly. I don't recall if these appointments are the mayor's recommendation followed by board action, or if it's independent board recommendation motion type of thing. So I'm looking that up as we speak.
They'll find that.
Either way is okay.
They'll find that, but it's in 195.
Well, this was not on the agenda for tonight.
My only comment is Jeff, his term's expired, but he's also the chair, so who would become the chair?
I have that for the next motion.
Spell it. It just says.
Just no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know he's expressed interest to me before. So, Ron's neighbor.
Yeah, in the fall when we were short, you were actually going to appoint him and then we slowed down.
Yeah, he was interested. We had those his resume along with ours, so.
We don't have a code book here, do we?
No, not yet. Until we move.
We got that in there.
I have the code on my.
Code 195.
Yeah.
We'll have everything here in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
This is for zoning.
So state law requires the mayor to appoint the Board of Appeals and the chairperson thereof, subject to the Board of Trustees. It looks like our village code requires in the absence of the mayor's designation, the chairperson to designate, but where else was that?
I have something for them.
Okay,
So
so
if we just talk about Shane.
12.8.
Appointments are appointed by the mayor subject to village. I apologize. This is OHBC.
The mayor's appointed. Would you like to make a motion?
So I'll motion that we
Approve the mayor's appointment.
approve the mayor's appointment of Shane Taylor for the zoning board for a 3-year term, starting now.
Any discussion on him? I know we've had his resume along with some others. People stepping up. Ron,
Yes.
Rusty,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
Brian.
Yes, I would like to know though that in the past few meetings, when we bring up stuff at the meeting, has to go on the next week's agenda.
I know Nate always yells at us.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's the last minute.
And I will continue yelling at all of you.
Okay.
For the,
What do you think about this?
Yes.
so for the zoning board, I recommend Mark Tribuco, compliance training, become the chair requirements.
He's agreed
It's
to
okay
that.
to do that.
So I'd like to appoint Mark Trujillo as the chair of the zoning board.
Okay.
I motion we approve the appointment of Mark Tribuco as the chair of the zoning board.
I'll second that.
100% yes on that one. Any discussion on that? Ron,
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Yes, if I have to approve my own.
Now, for the next, I recommend for chair of the planning board, Linda Coe. Linda has met the compliance requirements to become the chair.
That's true. How does that, the planning board's all me, right? I just get to appoint. Is Linda okay with that?
Linda was also recommended by several members of the, employees of the DPW as being very communicative back about information of the past meetings when they had questions. And she's met the requirements to be the chair. There's compliance things, and she's the member that's met them.
I would like to appoint Nicole as the chair of the planning.
I would like to accept the appointment of
You don't need to do that. The planning board.
Planning board.
Figured that out last time.
Do we approve that or not?
No.
That's great. That's great.
Okay.
Okay, mayor appointment.
Ask me why.
That's it. Hey,
One less vote we have to take it.
okay.
Okay, there are, there's the OHPC meeting coming up Thursday. Then April 28th is a Tuesday, is the next planning board meeting. And the 29th is a Wednesday, is the next zoning board meeting. And there are a few items on their agendas.
Yeah.
Coming up. Oh,
One.
yeah, you want to make a comment?
Yeah, the Raptor Center and their DRI project potentially on Central and South Depot is one of the things that they're going to be working on. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, so the planning and zoning boards did have meetings last week. And they discussed that big Raptor Center, what was that?
It's called the Neighborhood Depot.
Neighborhood Depot. Okay, so it's like a sort of a conglomerate of services they're proposing at one specific spot.
Four different nonprofits in one big building.
Yeah, so it's the area over by the railroad tracks above the underpass.
Where the rural ministry system.
Behind it.
Yeah, they had a couple questions about the underpass stairwells, and they might be coming to talk about that. Okay, yeah. So I would expect more of that to come up in the next meetings, or they just want maybe more clarification. And then, yeah, so those are coming up right at the end of the month, and we've got our new member. So just for Shane, if he's watching, the procedure is to go down to the village clerk's office and sign in your oath of service. And if you could send your email to Meg at the DPW here, she will send you all the information about all the projects. And it'd be really good to do it as soon as possible because there's a lot to review.
I'll go down a couple houses, knock on this door, give them all that information.
Perfect.
He's not watching.
Okay.
Hopefully all of our meetings for the planning and zoning board have been hybrid, so they've been recorded and you can actually watch them. That's good.
Yeah. And then we're continuing to work on the federal grant. You know, the good, exciting news that there's more money for us. It's not like a wild show, like the generator grant, part of it, like there's a cost estimate ratio that like we have to put in like what we're asking for, like how many people we serve, where it's going to go, and so they look it over. So we're not going to go wild with like getting more than we can use or more, you know, we're not going to get extra. But it's good that we're taking advantage of this opportunity that not a lot of other people have. So anyways, so just for people we're considering elevating Time Is Now with a 90% match. But it's like it's a big task, but we'll take it on for that kind of money, that kind of assistance. So if anybody's interested in hearing more on that, they can get with me and I'll hook you up with Julie Nucci or figure it out. That's it for me.
I have no official report, other than what Brett has stated, and the crew has accomplished since the last meeting. I just want to thank him for jumping in his position, really doing a hell of a job. And not an easy task he took on. But I want to commend him and the crew. That's about all that I have.
Right?
Okay, well, for the cemetery committee, the first public work day session will be on April 16th at 9 a.m. at the cemetery. And the next cemetery committee meeting is on Monday, the 25th, 5:30 p.m., hopefully here. But I've also been in contact with the Friends of Evergreen. And they have received a $250 grant from the Owego Rotary Club that will go towards signage that they've been working on for the cemetery. They need far more than that for the project, but that'll be set aside for that. And also they have, the Friends of Evergreen have received an anonymous donation for the repair of the plaque monument up in the cemetery. Next meeting, Peter Gordon will come and talk to us about that because we've also, they're negotiating with a mason, and of course they'll be working with Brett on that too to get that done. And also they have the first stained glass window at the mortuary chapel is nearly done. And well, Peter Gordon does a lot on his own. But he's gonna need the DPW help putting that back up because he had a accident there in the chapel about 10 days ago.
Nasty.
His wife said, no more climbing ladders for you. Yeah, it was nasty. He fell.
We put that in his email. It's part of my merit retention
Yes.
policy.
Only was.
Yeah. So that's it for today.
The monument, sorry, that monument you said was the Platt monument? The
Yeah.
Platt family?
It's a big,
It's a big one. It's very big.
The Platt family
more than that.
used to be the Platt maps. They mapped out like the entire United States about who lived where and how,
Oh, he was the senator
Yeah.
in this area.
Mr. Gordon got quite injured falling off the ladder working there. Rodney, would you possibly send a card from the village to him?
Yeah.
One kind of thing that we do when someone has trouble and everybody sees him. He got concussion, he got hurt pretty bad.
Yeah.
He highly praised Earl Hartman and the rest of the EMS group
Yeah.
that came down.
I've got a good group.
Can I give my trustee report now that I said all the Okay, so Nate, my friend, I haven't had you be mad at me tonight yet, so that's right, I'm supposed to do something, I'd make Nate mad. I would like to move that we hire for the DPW code, part-time, Dean Morgan, and a pay rate of whatever the municipal minimum wage minimum is.
They
Is
can
there a
probably
certain
tell
number
us.
of hours he plans on working?
Not very many. No, I'm serious.
If Mitt wants to question, whatever.
It's
Come in and help.
it's more of an advisory
Oh,
type situation, but he needs to be an employee of the Village of Owego to do it. He doesn't, you know, the money's not important. That's why, I think minimum is 715 hours, basically. Just to be nothing, just to be at that.
They can tell us what minimum is, what's minimum municipal wage, Nate?
Oh gosh, you'd put me on the spot like that. I think it's
That's a federal.
is it 1350? Whatever this, I was going to say whatever the state minimum wage is, but it might not. It might be less than that. I really don't know off the top of my head.
I think it's a lot less than that, actually.
It's probably the federal rate.
13 is the state regular rate, it's not the state municipal.
Right.
Did you have some, Fred?
No,
Yeah, no, I mean, he offered to do it for free, but we need them on the books for insurance purposes.
So I moved to that we hire him. I didn't know if that was a second or not.
I'll second.
We had discussion in the middle, any other discussion about? Eight. Ron,
Yes.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Are you done now?
I have one more thing. I would like to be on the
Oh, yeah.
committees for our DI projects, and I would like to be on the committee for the art park and the committee for Marvin Park and the committee for parking. So those are, I would like to be on those committees.
We're doing that. I'd like to be on the art park and the parking committees if possible.
Rusty, you want to be on all?
Just those three, not the,
That's all.
I thought, no, the other one is the river
Trails.
trail.
That's kind of broken into
Oh, well.
All right, well, if we're doing this, I want to be on the Marv Park Committee.
Which one are you interested
The art park and the parking.
Jump in there.
Is there a science?
I'm already on that. It's through the time
in?
county.
Fran's interested in Marvin?
You can pencil me in for Marvin.
And Peter Gordon also had requested to be on the North Avenue Committee. He's got a number of ideas.
Peter? Yeah, I know.
And Chris Knickerbocker also,
Chris was on, I
committee.
know I said with Brittany, we kind of went over some outside people. Chris was kind of for one, for the RV kind of stuff.
Yeah, the art park.
We were gonna get interest from some people and see what they thought.
Volunteer for all of them. I want to do the trails, which is roped into the Marvin. I don't really want to do Marvin, but I want to do the trails. And parking and the art park.
So I will say on that note, our committee meetings, I guess we're gonna have to advertise them because we got a whole bunch.
Yeah, send out an email.
Is gonna be Monday, April 18th, which is before the next board meeting. They're gonna start at 4 o'clock here. We're gonna have one 4 to 5, one 5 to 6, and one 6 to 7 with Hunt.
You said Monday 18th?
Next board meeting. Start at 4 o'clock right here. And we'll have each committee meeting like an hour long before our board meeting.
All right, well, if you let us know which committee meetings are which times.
They're not set. You
Well,
are on
you let
part,
us know
so probably, I would
by
say,
email.
yeah, I'll get with them, we'll figure out which ones, which time, but
Rusty, since these are committees, we will not have a problem with having more than a certain number of board members at one of these meetings.
yeah, they're more steering committees, that obviously.
So they're not-
any
That's the
Actual
rest of the
decisions,
board, right?
Yeah, they're not.
they'll be advertised anyway, but any actual decisions have to come to.
It would be good for us to hear who is interested in these committees, but still you or someone should choose who's going to be on these committees. Rather, I mean, yeah, that's nice that you want to be on this committee, but just because you want to be on it doesn't mean you're going to be on it.
Right.
So that has to get
don't think we need 50 people on.
Oh, no, Hunt recommended 5 max.
No, we were talking about having 2 people from the community on each committee.
More than 3 or 4, depending on the committee.
3, yeah.
And some of them have different aspects. So.
You know, and I would also recommend that on the Marvin Park Committee, we should have somebody from the Fair Board on there.
That's sure. Yeah, I know I said with Brittany went through like Marvin Park, for example, we have a Fair Board representative, which we have to determine who that is based on who wants to do it. There's a couple other ideas like a skate park representative, a pool person representative, you know, the different areas of the park that we're trying to do something in. So families for the playground. So.
Yeah.
But each project, we kind of went through the different aspects of the project and tried to come up with somebody from the community that kind of represents that.
So this is going to be advertised ahead of time?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that skate park used a lot?
Yeah, that's what I was interested in.
I'm sure there's families there that have an opinion.
What do they need to set things dangerous? They need to leave it up.
The way it is now, I mean, the skate park is dangerous to begin with. You know.
Rodney had found, I looked at the Ithaca, we had the diagrams and things of the
I
Ithaca.
think it gives all our claims for the skate park data.
I'm just saying, no more resources.
Have you ever been to the one in Binghamton? You know, that area where the highways all, they just finished building it. And you look over to the right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all, those are the things I.
Communications. Just kind of went through them actually. Yeah, it's supposed to stay. Oh, Little League opening day. We got a spot in the parade if anybody wants to walk. It's the end of April.
Hey, was it?
Yeah,
It's in the last minutes.
Who's approved on this meeting? I want to say it's 29th, maybe.
Yeah, I'll find it for you.
I don't know. It's somewhere.
It's a Saturday, right?
Saturday, April.
30th.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, yeah,
23rd, 30th.
Yeah, or the 23rd. But anyway, we got a spot in the parade if anybody wants to walk, so. Let me check the finish.
Yeah.
Some gators this
Yeah,
time.
me too. Park at it.
Yeah.
That's coming up. Mayor's report. Been busy. We've got CDSA negotiations and PBA negotiations, hopefully wrapping up soon. Other than that, we had a meeting with DOT and Racker Center about the stairs. So that's moving forward. Their idea is to, on properties they own, or properties they're going to own with the project, remove the stairs that go down to north end. Liability, maintaining all those stairs.
Kind of like a slide right now.
Yeah. I think everybody's kind of on board with that. Those stairs are kind of a mess. They're in a DOT right away. Technically, years ago when 100 Patch was built, the DOT signed the maintenance and liability of those stairs over to the village.
Oh, really? That was nice.
Where always take that crap?
So we're the ones who have to tell them it's okay to do that. So eventually we're gonna have to have approvals on that. Once they get actual plans.
CSEA meeting, is that going to be here, clerk's office? What are we doing?
We can do it here.
I just want to know where to go.
We'll do it here.
Nate, did you get all that? CSEA meeting Wednesday, 4:30 here?
Oh, I'm well aware.
Okay.
I set it up.
And I'm assuming that the sewer project DRI is being handled by?
Yeah, so there's some other DRI projects that don't necessarily need a committee,
Yeah.
like the sewer or the lighting across the river. All that's moving forward, so every Friday we have a call I do with Hunt, and we look at different people. This week it was about electric charging stations. And Julie Sweet from the state actually pointed Hunt to another state agency that actually looks at our community and puts those in. So we may be able to save some DRI money there.
There's great opportunities on those.
Is that
Yeah.
included in the DRI?
It's part of it. That's part of the parking project.
Okay. No, I thought the county was going to put it in there on that.
With the DRI money. So.
What's happening?
You guys want to talk about that? Got to sell our building, so let's get that on the agenda for a month.
Yeah.
No sense taking on that. If we go, we should give it that.
Shall we schedule a hearing on that?
I don't know how we, I don't know.
Yeah, we go about that, we'll investigate it.
Start on that. Get it, you know, we'll start looking into getting an appraisal or things like that. Start getting small.
Going in down,
At 178 Main Street. So
turn into a restaurant.
if anybody's looking, let them know. You're going on the market soon, hopefully we'll be moving over here
Yeah. This year.
this year, yeah.
So you can furniture.
You were gonna look into movers for moving
We
to,
already got that.
okay. Did you include the DPW office to move the large items here? Okay.
Yeah. We're starting to plug a few things over because we got nothing.
I have nothing.
Yeah. Nothing to do, right?
Bring the clock.
We're waiting, we're waiting on the services of phone, internet and all of that to be installed here before anybody of offices can move.
Right, that's our main. We're starting to. Like in our office, we're starting to consolidate all, some of the old files and, you know, going through that. So we don't want to bring stuff that we don't need.
An update on that, obviously the main services are here, internet and that kind of stuff. We're waiting on the physical stuff. The phones that were ordered 3 months ago, 4 months ago, still aren't here. The county, who's now our IT provider, because we did the shared services with them, has some extra phones that they're gonna put into this building and then swap them out or keep our new phones when they come in. We're gonna figure out how to make it happen. And they have all the stuff to bring our other sites onto the county internet system. That's what they're gonna work on in the next couple weeks. And then once the phones are here, then we can actually move the people here. We got the movers figured out,
Yeah, moving through.
it's pretty low, so definitely worth it.
They can do everything roughly a day. When you do it on a weekend.
Well, let's get on the tree by tomorrow.
Well, very good mind.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mile and a half, maybe.
Anything else, Mike?
public comment, that's it.
Public, one more time.
The only thing I wanted to add was, Mr. Mayor, Binghamton has a porch fest in August or somewhere, I think.
Thanks, man.
And I was wondering if we could add, I don't know how that gets added to an activity. We have the Strawberry Festival, which is nice. But Porch Fest is a really, really nice thing to get different bands. And there's lots of really nice historic buildings that have nice porches, and maybe they offer them up for various bands. It might be a nice event to get more people into town.
Good idea.
I think the Tioga Arts Council would be a great place to propose that as a nonprofit that would put something like that together.
The organizers, yeah.
Yeah. So most of our festivals are, well, all of our festivals are run by some other, they're not really run by the village, they're run by some other organization. Almost all of them are just on the Owego Marketplace. They're just an association of stores downtown.
Yeah, so you mean the Nelson Building, the visitor? That place, is that what you're talking about?
We know there's most of them belong to like, kind of like a homeowners association, but it's an association of all the businesses that come together. They have their own board, like Strawberry Fest, they run Strawberry Fest. We help them out with closing the streets and bringing barrels.
We have had in the past a kind of a little mini porch festival where we've had activities up and down Front Street on people's porches. So that could morph into something if someone wanted to take it over into something like that.
I just sit on my porch and play my guitar.
You could.
They do that art thing.
If you had a guitar.
Yeah, that was on there.
That's by the
Yeah, that
That's
was
what
put,
they've talked about. The
yeah, so the
garden
master
tours.
gardeners were part of that.
Yeah.
That was a modern park.
They've had some bands here and there, but yeah, that would be another thing. But if they have people asking for it, they'd be more apt to bring something like that back.
The historic, the home tour, the historic tour thing.
That's
that kind
also
of fell
fun.
by the wayside because of the COVID.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we bring that back too. But I was hoping with my house is a historic, it's an award-winning house. And so I thought I would be the, the docent for that event, should it come back. But,
That's also the Tioga Arts Council.
oh, okay.
So I can sit on your porch.
Mr. D, I like play guitar on somebody's porch.
Mr. D, would you like to throw something in at the very last? Good. You all set, Teresa?
Very good.
Move to adjourn.
Sounds good to me.
Thanks for staying. President Tracy, thanks for being here and staying.
Thank you.
I didn't need a chair.
Yeah.
I have